The Kentucky sun beat down on the dusty asphalt, shimmering waves of heat rising from the deserted road. A lone silver Mercedes stood stranded, its gleaming surface reflecting the harsh glare. Inside, Matthew Evans felt a bead of sweat trickle down his temple. His tanned hands tapped impatiently against the leather. Retirement had brought him wealth, but not prepared him for a flat tire in the middle of nowhere. The silence of the countryside pressed in on him. The digital clock on the dashboard seemed to tick louder. His phone lay useless, its signal lost. A sigh escaped his lips, tinged with helplessness. He was at the mercy of fate and a deflated tire. Matthew adjusted his silk tie, feeling constricted in the heat. He surveyed the desolate landscape, searching for a sign of life. The silence was broken by chirping crickets and rustling leaves. Time seemed to stretch, amplifying his isolation. A figure emerged on the horizon, moving slowly towards him. A young boy came into focus, his silhouette outlined against the sun. He wore a faded t-shirt and dusty jeans, walking purposefully. Matthew watched as the boy approached, feeling relief and apprehension. Could this child offer the assistance he needed? As the boy drew closer, Matthew noticed his determined expression. Perhaps fate had not abandoned him completely. The boy stopped beside the Mercedes, his gaze sweeping over the gleaming exterior and the slumped figure of its owner. "Got a flat?" he asked, his voice carrying quiet assurance. Matthew, taken aback, could only nod. "I can help with that," he said, his tone matter-of-fact. He knelt by the flat tire, his movements fluid and practiced. "Grandpa taught me how to change a tire last summer. You got a spare?" Matthew, still slightly disoriented, could only point towards the trunk. He watched as the boy effortlessly lifted the heavy spare tire. The silence between them was filled with the unspoken language of shared experience. The boy rose to his feet, brushing the dirt from his hands. "All done," he announced, a hint of pride in his voice. He looked at Matthew, his eyes clear and direct. Matthew reached for his wallet, a reflex from years of transactional relationships. "Here," he said, pulling out a wad of bills. "Take this." He extended the money, a token of gratitude. The boy took a step back, his hand raised in polite refusal. "Thank you, sir," he replied, "but I don't need anything. Just happy to help." Matthew stared at him dumbfounded. People did not refuse money, not like this. Yet here was this boy, his face radiating satisfaction. He seemed to embody a spirit of selflessness. The boy turned to leave, his shadow stretching in the fading light. "You have a good day now," he called over his shoulder. Matthew watched him go, the encounter leaving a mark on his soul. He felt a mix of emotions, gratitude, humility, and unease. This simple act of kindness revealed something deeper. Matthew sat alone in his car, the engine idling softly. He looked at the money still clutched in his hand, the crisp bills suddenly feeling meaningless. He thought of the boy's worn shoes, the faded t-shirt, the quiet dignity with which he had refused payment. He had expected gratitude, perhaps even a hint of desperation, but what he had witnessed was something far more profound, a spirit of generosity that flowed from a place of inner abundance. The setting sun cast long shadows across the road, painting the landscape in hues of orange and purple. Matthew started the engine and pulled away from the spot where his world had shifted on its axis. As he drove, the boy's words echoed in his mind. "Just happy to help." The simplicity of the statement, its utter lack of pretense, struck a chord deep within him. He had spent a lifetime building an empire, accumulating wealth and accolades. But had he ever experienced the pure satisfaction of helping someone without expecting anything in return? The encounter had left him unsettled, the boy's image seared into his memory. He realized with a clarity that was both exhilarating and unsettling, that this chance meeting was not merely a roadside incident but a catalyst. The seeds of change had been sown, and he knew with a certainty that defied logic that he could not ignore them. The grand oak doors of Matthew's mansion loomed before him, reflecting the dying embers of the sunset. He pressed the button, the gates swinging open with silent efficiency. As he drove up the driveway, past manicured lawns, a wave of exhaustion washed over him. It was the exhaustion of a soul grappling with a truth it had long avoided. The boy's easy confidence and refusal of payment unsettled him. Matthew, used to control, found himself strangely unsettled. The house, usually a sanctuary, felt different tonight. Its high ceilings and luxury mocked his inner turmoil. He paused by the window, gazing at the twinkling cityscape. He thought of the boy, his face etched in memory. He envied the boy's quiet contentment. Matthew closed his eyes, a single tear tracing his cheek. He knew he couldn't ignore this feeling. He had to find the boy, to thank him properly, to repay the debt for the glimpse of humanity. The next morning Matthew awoke with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. He dressed quickly, forgoing his usual tailored suits for a simple linen shirt and slacks. As he drove, the city's towering skyscrapers and bustling streets seemed to melt away. He retraced his route, the familiar landmarks taking on a new significance. Each location served as a marker on this unplanned pilgrimage. His search led him deeper into the countryside, the landscape changing from sprawling suburbs to rolling hills and fields dotted with wildflowers. He rolled down the windows, allowing the breeze to wash over him. The boy's simple act of kindness reminded him of what it meant to be truly wealthy. The town of Harland appeared on the horizon, nestled amidst rolling hills and farmland. Matthew parked his car, the sleek Mercedes seeming out of place amidst the pickup trucks and dusty sedans. He stepped out, a wave of nostalgia washing over him. This could have been his town, his life, had he chosen a different path. He walked along the sidewalk, his eyes taking in the details of this unfamiliar yet strangely familiar place. He closed his eyes, savoring the simplicity of the experience. Section 4. A Place at the Table. As Matthew finished his pie, a woman and a young boy entered the diner. His heart skipped a beat, a surge of recognition coursing through him. It was the boy from the roadside, his face still etched in Matthew's memory. He sat with his mother at a table by the window, their laughter carrying across the room. The boy's eyes sparkled with mischief as he recounted a story, his hands gesturing animatedly. His mother listened intently, a smile gracing her features. There was a warmth between them, an unspoken language of love and shared experience. Matthew watched them from afar, hesitant to intrude on their private world. He observed the way the boy helped his mother with her coat, his gentle touch speaking volumes. He saw the way they interacted with the waitress, their easy banter a testament to the familiarity of small-town life. He longed to be a part of their world, to experience the simple joys that seemed to come so naturally to them. Gathering his courage, he approached their table, his heart pounding in his chest. "Excuse me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The boy looked up, his eyes widening in surprise. "You're the man from the road!" he exclaimed, a smile spreading across his face. "It's you!" Matthew's apprehension melted away, replaced by a warmth that spread through his chest. "Yes, it's me," he confirmed, his voice regaining its usual strength. "I wanted to thank you again for your help. You went above and beyond and He paused, unsure how to express the depth of his gratitude. "I wouldn't have known what to do without you." The boy's mother smiled, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "Elijah's always been a good boy, always willing to lend a hand." She gestured to the empty seat at their table. "Why don't you join us? We'd love to hear how you're doing." Matthew hesitated for a moment, unsure if he was worthy of their kindness. He was an outsider, a stranger from a different world. But the sincerity in their invitation, the warmth in their eyes left no room for doubt. He gratefully accepted their offer, taking a seat at their table, his heart filled with a sense of hope he hadn't felt in years. He had come to Harland in search of the boy, but he had found something far greater, a connection to something real, something authentic, something that reminded him of the true meaning of life. The aroma of frying chicken and freshly baked cornbread filled the air as Elijah's mother, Sarah, bustled around the small kitchen. The table, covered with a faded checkered cloth, was set with simple plates and mismatched cutlery. Matthew sat awkwardly in a worn armchair, his expensive suit feeling out of place. Elijah, full of youthful energy, helped his mother carry plates to the table. A warmth spread through Matthew, a stark contrast to his usual formality. Here, he felt a sense of ease he hadn't realized he craved. The air buzzed with a comfortable familiarity, a shared history evident in their interactions. Matthew had come to repay Elijah's kindness with grand gestures. He envisioned scholarships, trust funds, even a new house. Yet, observing their laughter, he realized the inadequacy of his intentions. Their wealth lay in their bond and shared experiences. Elijah described his latest project, a birdhouse built with found wood. Matthew, used to multi-million-dollar deals, was captivated by the boy's enthusiasm. He realized with regret how long it had been since he felt such joy. Sarah, her face etched with resilience, offered a knowing smile. "He gets his tinkering from his grandfather," she explained with pride. "Taught him everything he knew about building things." The mention of Elijah's grandfather brought a comfortable silence, a shared moment of remembrance. As they ate, Matthew shared stories of his childhood, tales of simpler times. He spoke of his parents' lessons on honesty and integrity. Elijah and Sarah listened intently, prompting deeper reflection. He recalled his first job delivering newspapers, the pride in earning his own money. He realized he had mistaken accumulation for fulfillment. Elijah asked, "But did it make you happy?" Matthew found himself speechless. Sarah said, "Life shows us what truly matters." He realized he was receiving the gift of perspective. Matthew found himself drawn back to Harland again and again. Each visit chipped away at the walls around his heart. He spent hours talking with Sarah, inspired by her strength. He learned about her struggles and determination. He watched Elijah grow more confident each day. Matthew arranged for Elijah to learn from local craftsmen. Witnessing Elijah's eagerness, Matthew felt a passion stir. He envisioned creating opportunities for young people like Elijah. One afternoon, an idea began to take shape. "Sarah, I'd like to do something for you and Elijah." Sarah, her brow furrowed, turned to him. "Matthew," she said, "you've already done so much." She hesitated, her gaze fixed on her son. "We're not ones to take charity," she added. Matthew understood her hesitation. "This isn't charity, Sarah," he insisted. "This is about giving back, about honoring your kindness. This is about building something together." He outlined his plan, his voice gaining strength. He wanted to renovate their home, reflecting its warmth and love. The renovation project transformed not just Elijah's house, but the entire community. Local contractors, many of whom had known Sarah and Elijah for years, rallied around the project. Their skills and labor offered with a generosity of spirit that mirrored the boys' initial act of kindness. The sound of hammers pounding and saws buzzing filled the air, a symphony of creation that echoed through the quiet streets. Neighbors stopped by with plates of cookies and pitchers of lemonade, their faces etched with a mix of curiosity and admiration. Children, their eyes wide with wonder, watched as walls came down and new ones were erected, their imaginations ignited by the transformation taking place before their eyes. Matthew, accustomed to delegating tasks to others, found himself drawn into the heart of the project. He worked alongside the contractors, his hands calloused but his heart full. He listened to their stories, their struggles, their dreams for their families. He realized that he had spent years surrounded by people, yet he had never truly connected with them, never truly seen their humanity. Elijah, his energy boundless, became Matthew's shadow, observing every detail of the renovation with an insatiable curiosity. He peppered the workers with questions, his young mind absorbing information like a sponge. He learned about carpentry, plumbing, electrical wiring, his excitement growing with each passing day. Matthew, witnessing Elijah's passion, felt a sense of fulfillment he had never experienced in the boardroom. He had spent a lifetime chasing success, yet here, in this small town, he had stumbled upon something far more rewarding: the joy of shared purpose. The day the renovation was complete dawned bright and clear, the air alive with anticipation. The house, once faded and worn, now stood proud, its fresh paint gleaming in the sunlight. The porch, once sagging precariously, was now sturdy and inviting, adorned with a new swing set. Inside, the rooms were filled with light, the walls painted in warm hues. Elijah raced from room to room, his laughter echoing through the house. Sarah touched the smooth surface of the new kitchen counter, her eyes welling with tears. "Matthew," she whispered, "I don't know what to say. You've given us more than we could have ever dreamed of." Matthew embraced her in a hug. "This isn't just about the house, Sarah," he said. "This is about family, about community, about recognizing the goodness that exists in the world. True wealth has nothing to do with money and everything to do with the connections we make. You've given me a gift far greater than anything I could ever repay." As the sun began its descent, Matthew stood with Elijah and Sarah on the porch, watching the community gather. Neighbors, friends, even strangers arrived bearing gifts and well wishes. The air buzzed with a joyous energy, a shared celebration of the transformative power of kindness. Matthew, surrounded by the warmth of their embrace, realized that his journey to Harland had led him to a new home, a place where he could finally be his true self, defined by compassion and connection. The whine of saws and the rhythmic thud of hammers replaced the usual quiet of Harlan's back streets. The air, thick with the scent of sawdust and fresh paint, buzzed with an unusual energy. Matthew, clipboard in hand, surveyed the scene with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. Gone was the impeccably tailored businessman, replaced by a man energized by a mission far removed from the boardrooms he once commanded. The once drab exterior of Sarah's house was disappearing under a wave of fresh lumber and gleaming siding. The porch, no longer a precarious obstacle course of splintered wood, was taking shape as a sturdy haven, its new steps promising a welcoming embrace. Windows, once clouded with age and neglect, sparkled in the sunlight, hinting at the light and possibility that awaited within. Matthew, accustomed to delegating tasks to unseen hands, found himself drawn into the physicality of the project. He hefted planks alongside weathered carpenters, their calloused hands and knowing smiles a stark contrast to the manicured world he knew. He listened, truly listened, as they shared stories of their craft, their families, and their deep roots in the community. The transformation wasn't confined to the house itself. A contagious energy seemed to emanate from the construction site, drawing in neighbors and passers-by alike. Children, their eyes wide with wonder, peered through the gaps in the construction fences, their imaginations ignited by the sights and sounds of creation. Even the local stray dog, a fixture on Sarah's porch, seemed invigorated, barking playful encouragement at the workers. Elijah, a whirlwind of youthful energy, shadowed the workers tirelessly, his questions a constant barrage. The rhythmic clang of a hammer and the precise movements of a saw blade fascinated him. Elijah's small hands itched to try these new, grown-up skills. Matthew, seeing a reflection of his own youthful ambition, encouraged Elijah's curiosity. The carpenter, initially gruff, found himself charmed by Elijah's enthusiasm. The electrician explained the mysteries of circuits and the magic of bringing light to a dark space. With each passing day, Elijah's world expanded. Matthew felt a different kind of success taking root within him. It was measured not in dollars but in the spark of inspiration in a young boy's eyes. Elijah's curiosity ignited a transformation in both him and Matthew. The renovation project evolved into a testament to the power of shared purpose. Word of Matthew's generosity spread through Harland, drawing neighbors into the project. The clatter of construction was punctuated by the aroma of freshly baked pies and laughter. The once quiet street transformed into a hub of activity, bridging divides and uniting strangers. Sarah moved through the bustling scene with grace and humility, touching everyone she encountered. Matthew, accustomed to transactional business, was humbled by the selflessness of the people. He began to understand that true wealth wasn't measured in possessions. It was in the richness of relationships and the satisfaction of contributing to something larger. The project became a symbol of community and the unexpected bonds that can blossom. Elijah's simple act of kindness rippled outward, touching lives far beyond the renovation project. Inspired by Matthew's generosity, the people of Harlan began to look at each other with fresh eyes. Acts of kindness were celebrated, their significance amplified by Elijah's example. The grocery store owner began leaving baskets of day-old pastries for anyone in need. The librarian organized a town-wide book drive, collecting hundreds of volumes for the school library. The town council approved funding for a community garden project, transforming a vacant lot. Harlan's transformation was a testament to the contagious nature of compassion. As the renovation project neared completion, a bittersweet feeling settled over the town. The constant hum of activity and camaraderie would soon fade. Matthew grappled with the prospect of leaving Harlan, a world that now seemed sterile in comparison. He sat on the porch swing with Sarah and Elijah, the setting sun casting long shadows. A comfortable silence settled over them. "I'm going to miss this," Matthew confessed. "This town, this house, the two of you." Sarah offered a knowing smile. "You'll always have a place here, Matthew. You've become a part of our family, a part of this community." Elijah looked up at Matthew with an earnest expression. "You could always build something here. We could build it together." Matthew's heart swelled at the boy's words. He had come to Harlan seeking to repay a debt but discovered a wealth far greater. He found a purpose, a connection, a sense of belonging. He looked at Sarah, her eyes mirroring the same sentiment, and smiled. "You know what, Elijah," he said, "I think you just might be onto something." As the stars began to twinkle, a shared sense of purpose settled over them. The promise of a future filled with possibilities, built on kindness and generosity, the enduring power of human connection. The transformation of Harlan was a testament to the contagious nature of compassion. The first shoots of green pushed through the rich soil of the community garden. What was once a vacant lot now thrummed with life. Matthew, now in work boots, knelt beside Elijah, guiding a tomato seedling into the earth. Gone was the impatient executive, replaced by a man transformed. Sarah moved through the garden, a beacon of warmth and encouragement. Her hands, roughened by years of work, now moved with gentle grace. The garden became a melting pot of hearts and minds. The retired schoolteacher shared his passion for heirloom varieties. The single mother found solace and support in the company of other women. The garden was a testament to the transformative power of community. The rhythmic clang of hammer against nail echoed through the air. The Harlan Community Workshop stood as a testament to the enduring power of dreams shared. Matthew watched with pride as the workshop became a beacon of hope. Inside, the air buzzed with the energy of creation. Workbenches crafted from reclaimed lumber were already scarred with marks of labor. The whir of a sewing machine harmonized with the rasp of a hand plane. Elijah moved through the workshop with the confidence of a seasoned artisan. Under Matthew's guidance, his talent for woodworking blossomed. Sarah transformed one corner into a vibrant sewing studio. Colorful fabrics donated by townspeople spilled from baskets. Young girls learned the art of sewing, their creations transforming scraps of cloth. The workshop was a testament to the community's belief in their children's potential. It was a breeding ground for innovation and entrepreneurship. The silver Mercedes now sat parked unassumingly on Sarah's driveway. Matthew had moved out of his mansion, now residing in a modest cottage on the outskirts of Harlan. His days unfolded at a more measured pace, dictated by the rhythms of nature. He found joy in the simplest of things, working in the garden, shared meals and quiet evenings. He had come to Harlan seeking to repay a debt, but discovered a wealth far greater. True happiness wasn't measured in material possessions but in human connection, the satisfaction of contributing to something larger than oneself. Years later, Matthew's legacy lived on in the heart of Harlan. The community garden continued to flourish, nourishing bodies and souls. The Harlan Community Workshop became a breeding ground for innovation. Elijah, now a young man, pursued a career in sustainable architecture. Matthew's story became woven into the fabric of Harlan, a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can have a ripple effect, transforming lives and communities in ways both seen and unseen. The enduring power of human connection and compassion. As the credits roll, we're left with the lingering warmth of a story celebrating human connection. Matthew discovered true fulfillment lay in the richness of human connection. Elijah's small act of kindness became the catalyst for a chain reaction of generosity. Kindness is a renewable energy source that multiplies with every act of giving. The film's claymation style amplifies the message of human connection. The characters embody a vulnerability and authenticity that resonates deeply. Their journeys remind us of our shared humanity and capacity for compassion. The background music underscores the transformative power of kindness. It speaks to the profound impact we can have on each other through generosity and compassion. The narrator's clear American voice, imbued with warmth and sincerity, serves as a reassuring guide throughout the story. His words, echoing with a quiet wisdom, remind us that true wealth is not measured in material possessions, but in the quality of our relationships and the legacy of love and kindness we leave behind. The film's message of connection extends beyond the screen, inviting viewers to reflect on their own lives and the ways in which they can make a difference in their own communities. It encourages us to look beyond our differences, to embrace the transformative power of kindness, and to recognize that even the smallest acts of generosity can have a ripple effect that extends far beyond our immediate circles. As the final notes of music fade, we're left with a sense of hope and inspiration, a renewed belief in the power of human connection to create a more compassionate and fulfilling world. The story of Matthew Evans and Elijah reminds us that true happiness lies not in what we accumulate, but in what we give away, and that the legacy we leave behind is ultimately measured by the love we share and the kindness we extend to others. Thank you for joining us on this heartwarming journey. We hope this story has inspired you to embrace the transformative power of kindness in your own life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family. Until next time, remember that even the smallest act of kindness can change the world.